Imagine waking up every day, knowing exactly how each moment will unfold, the sound of the alarm clock, the commute to work, the same conversations, the same tasks. Everything seems predictable, almost automatic. For many, this is the definition of security, a comfort that protects from life's uncertainties. But what if, behind this facade of security, something deeper was happening? A feeling that starts as a whisper, a discomfort that you barely notice. But over time, it turns into a constant restlessness, an inner voice that refuses to be ignored. This was Levi's world, a young man who in everyone's eyes had everything he needed: a good job, a stable life, the comfort of a routine without surprises. But inside him, something was wrong. Each passing day, the emptiness in his chest seemed to grow, and what once brought him peace now suffocated him. It was as if he was living a life that wasn't truly his, trapped in a comfort zone that, instead of protecting him, kept him stagnant. And then, on a day that was supposed to be like any other, everything changed. Levi, who always valued stability, received news that would shake his existence to its core. He was fired. A job he never loved, but always considered essential, was ripped from his hands. The comfortable ground he had always walked on disappeared, leaving him face to face with the unknown. At first, fear took over. What would he do now? How would he rebuild his life without that pillar that, though imperfect, was the foundation of his security? Levi wondered, am I good enough? Do I have what it takes to move forward? The feeling of helplessness consumed him, and the world outside his comfort zone seemed like a cold and cruel place. But even amid the chaos, something began to awaken inside Levi. A small flame of hope, a voice that, though timid, insisted on being heard. What if this isn't the end, but a new beginning? What if this is the moment to finally live the life you've always wanted, the life you deserve? It was at that moment that Levi made a decision that would change everything. He chose to take the first step, and so began the journey that would not only lead him to face his greatest fears, but also to discover that true life begins where the comfort zone ends. Levi, now without the chains of security, found himself on the edge of an abyss. Each step forward seemed uncertain, and the fear of failure followed him like a shadow. But something inside him had changed. For the first time in a long time, he allowed himself to dream. Not the small, modest dreams that suited his old life, but big, bold dreams that made his heart race. He knew it wouldn't be easy, but he also knew he couldn't continue living as before. He began to explore new paths, small trails that he wouldn't have noticed before. He looked for opportunities he would never have considered, took risks in areas where he was just a beginner. The difficulties appeared quickly. Doors closed, obstacles arose at every corner. The world seemed to test his determination at every step. And at times, discouragement almost overtook him. There were moments when the weight of the choices made him question whether he had made the right decision. But with each stumble, Levi found a strength he had never known before. It was as if something inside him was getting stronger with each challenge overcome. Each small success, each advance, however modest, became a reminder that he was capable of much more than he had ever imagined. Then one day, a challenge arose that was unlike anything he had faced before. It was big, overwhelming, and seemed impossible to overcome. Levi felt the weight of this new obstacle like a direct blow to his spirit. All the doubts he had overcome until that point seemed to return with full force, whispering in his mind that he should give up, return to comfort, to safety. But something deeper prevented him from retreating. He remembered why he had started, that emptiness that consumed him when everything seemed too safe, that feeling that he was destined for something more, something greater. With this memory pulsing in his chest, Levi faced the challenge head-on, determined to give his all, even if fear desperately tried to pull him back. And then, at the moment when the pressure was most intense, something unexpected happened. Levi not only overcame the challenge, he transformed in the process. He realized that it wasn't just the success that mattered, but the journey itself, the way he had shaped and strengthened himself through each obstacle faced. Levi now saw clearly what had been hidden before. True life, the life he had always wanted to live, was beyond the walls of comfort. He had discovered something precious, something that could only be found on the other side of fear. The courage to take the first step had become the force that propelled him forward, and he knew that from that moment on, there was no turning back. And so, Levi continued his journey, no longer seeking comfort, but rather the discovery of who he truly was and what he was capable of. He now understood that each new challenge was an opportunity to grow, to reinvent himself, and to come closer to the purpose he had always felt within, but had previously been hidden in the shadows of fear. As time went on, Levi began to realize something that would change his perspective forever. It wasn't just about overcoming challenges or conquering new territories. It was about the internal transformation that occurred with each step he took outside his comfort zone. Levi began to understand that the real battle wasn't against the outside world, but against the limitations he had imposed on himself. The doubts, fears, and insecurities that once held him back now seemed smaller as he gained confidence in his ability to adapt and grow. He began seeking out experiences that challenged him, not out of necessity, but by choice. With each new challenge, Levi discovered a new facet of himself. He began to realize that the most difficult situations were the ones that brought the greatest lessons. What once made him hesitate now motivated him to move forward with even more determination. He discovered that discomfort was actually a doorway to a new version of himself, a stronger, wiser, and more confident version. With each new accomplishment, Levi felt closer to something he had never experienced before, a true sense of purpose. He began to see that his journey was not just about reaching external goals, but about the deep inner fulfillment that came from living in alignment with his values and passions. Levi reconnected with his deepest dreams, those he had buried under the weight of routine and security. He realized that he was not just living, but finally truly alive. But Levi's journey was not without difficulties. There were moments when life tested his newfound courage in unexpected ways. Greater challenges arose, some so immense that they almost brought the fear back with full force. But this time, Levi had something he had never had before, an unshakable belief in himself. He had proven time and again that he was capable of overcoming any obstacle. And with this confidence, he faced each new trial with the certainty that regardless of the outcome, he would come out stronger on the other side. In one of these decisive moments, Levi found himself faced with a critical choice. A new challenge, even greater than all the previous ones, emerged in his path. But this time, instead of hesitating, he felt a deep calm. He knew that regardless of what happened, he was exactly where he needed to be. The journey had taught him that true value wasn't in the final destination, but in the path taken to get there. With a heart full of courage and a clear mind, Levi made his decision. He chose the harder path, the one with fewer guarantees, but also the greatest possibility for growth. And so, when facing the greatest challenge of his life, Levi didn't just overcome it, he transcended. He became the living proof that when we embrace uncertainty and accept discomfort as part of the journey, we become capable of reaching heights that once seemed unattainable. Levi discovered that true power wasn't in avoiding fear, but in facing it, in growing from it, and in using that strength to shape a future that reflects who we really are at our core. And now, as Levi continues his journey, he carries with him a new certainty that life truly begins where comfort ends. He knows that with every step he takes outside that zone, he not only discovers new opportunities, but also uncovers aspects of himself he never imagined possible. And with each new discovery, Levi comes closer to his true essence, transforming every day into the best version of himself. Levi was at the peak of his journey, feeling invincible. Every challenge overcome had strengthened him, and he believed that nothing could stop him. His path seemed clear, and for the first time in a long time, he felt completely aligned with his purpose. But as life often teaches us, the road is unpredictable, and the unexpected can arise when we least expect it. One day, while working on a project he believed was the culmination of his new life, Levi received devastating news. One of his biggest investments, an initiative where he had placed not only his money but also his heart, was on the verge of failing. The company he was collaborating with faced a financial crisis, and suddenly everything he had worked for seemed to be crumbling before his eyes. Levi, who had so prided himself on his newfound confidence, felt the old fear return with overwhelming force. For a moment, it was as if all the progress he had made evaporated. The insecurity he thought he had left behind came back to haunt him. Levi wondered if he had been foolish to believe he could change his life, if maybe he was destined to fail, no matter his efforts. The twist caught him off guard, and he found himself once again on the brink of the abyss, where despair threatened to take hold. But as he wrestled with these dark thoughts, something deep inside him began to stir. Levi realized that despite the fear and uncertainty, there was something different in how he was handling the situation. Instead of fully giving in to panic, he remembered everything he had learned throughout his journey. He had faced challenges before and had come out stronger. Why would this be any different? With this new perspective, Levi decided to do something he would never have done in the past. He allowed himself to stop and reflect. Instead of rushing to try to save what seemed lost, he stepped back for a moment and revisited his purpose. He questioned why he had started this journey and what really mattered to him. And it was in this moment of introspection that the true turning point occurred. Levi realized that while the imminent failure was a painful blow, it didn't define who he was. He understood that true value wasn't in maintaining control over everything, but in how he responded to the unexpected. With this clarity, Levi made a bold decision. Instead of trying to save at all costs what was failing, he chose to let go. He decided to accept the failure not as an end, but as a lesson, a redirection in his journey. This unexpected choice freed him from a burden he didn't even know he was carrying. By letting go of control, Levi opened himself up to new possibilities he wouldn't have considered before. He realized that true power lay in his ability to adapt, to learn, and to move forward even when things didn't go as planned. And so, instead of being defeated by the twist, Levi used this experience to transform once again. He emerged from the crisis not only stronger, but with a new understanding of himself and life. Levi learned that sometimes the path to success isn't linear, and that the greatest twists can lead us exactly where we need to be, even if it's not where we expected. Levi's decision to let go of control wasn't easy, but it was liberating. He had learned that in life, it's not always about winning or losing, but about growing, evolving, and adapting to ever-changing circumstances. With this new mindset, he began to see opportunities where he once saw only obstacles. The twist that initially seemed like a fatal blow now became the starting point for a new phase in his journey. Instead of trying to save the failed project, Levi began exploring new horizons with an open mind and a light heart. He turned to the lessons the failure had taught him, using the wisdom gained to shape his next steps. And then, an unexpected idea emerged, something he would never have considered if he hadn't gone through the painful experience of loss. Levi decided that instead of pursuing success by traditional definitions, he would follow an authentic path aligned with his deepest values. He began to ask himself, what really matters to me? What do I really want to leave as a legacy? These questions led him to a completely new vision. He realized that his true desire was to impact people's lives in a meaningful way, something he had never prioritized before when he was focused on more superficial goals. With this clarity, Levi began working on a new project, one that combined his passion for helping others with his skills. He decided to create a platform that connected people in vulnerable situations with resources and support to overcome their own challenges. He wanted to share with the world everything he had learned on his own journey, helping others transform their lives just as he had transformed his. The work was hard, and Levi faced new challenges, but this time he was prepared. He knew that difficulties were not signs of failure, but opportunities to grow and adapt. Each obstacle overcome became a victory, not only for him, but also for the people he was helping. The platform began to take shape, growing organically, driven by the positive impact it was creating. Levi started receiving messages from people who had found hope and strength through his creation. They shared stories of overcoming, inspired by the lessons Levi shared. He realized that he had found his true purpose, not in pursuing success for its own sake, but in using his experiences to light the way for others. And so, what began as a devastating twist turned into a new source of energy and inspiration. Levi not only rebuilt his life, but also created something that touched the hearts of thousands of people. He discovered that true fulfillment didn't come from avoiding failure, but from facing each challenge with courage and using each experience to grow and help others grow as well. Levi now knew that life is a series of twists and turns, and that each one offers a choice to give up or to reinvent oneself. And with each choice he made, he became stronger, wiser, and more determined to continue his journey no matter what came next. He had discovered that true power lies in staying true to oneself in any circumstance and using one's knowledge to make a difference in the world. Levi had learned that life never follows a predictable script. What began as a journey in search of security and comfort turned into a deep exploration of the unknown. Every twist, every challenge, every unexpected loss shaped him into a more authentic and powerful version of himself. He discovered that true success lies not only in the results we achieve, but in the internal transformations we experience along the way. Levi's journey teaches us that when we allow ourselves to step out of our comfort zone and face the unknown, we can discover strengths we never knew we had. He proved that even in the most difficult situations, there is always a choice. We can be victims of circumstances, or we can use each obstacle as a springboard to something greater. By embracing discomfort and learning to deal with failure, Levi found his true purpose. He realized that his mission wasn't just to achieve success for himself, but to use his experiences to positively impact the lives of others. And in doing so, he discovered a satisfaction that no material security could offer. Now Levi continues his journey, but in a completely different way. He no longer seeks comfort or certainty, but rather the opportunity to grow and help others do the same. The platform he created not only transformed his life, but also the lives of many around him. And that's what really matters, not what we accumulate, but what we share. And so I ask you, what are you waiting for to take the first step out of your comfort zone? What fears or doubts are holding you back? Remember, just as Levi discovered, true magic happens when we allow ourselves to face the unknown and reinvent ourselves. Life is full of twists and turns, and each one can be an opportunity to become the best version of yourself. If Levi's story inspired you, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. Share this video with someone who needs a little push to step out of their comfort zone. And in the comments, tell us, what was the biggest challenge you've ever faced and how did it transform you? We love hearing your stories and learning from your experiences. Thank you for watching, and remember, the journey continues. Let's go together, step by step, discovering the true life that lies beyond comfort. See you in the next video.